ELF volunteers, this session is Snow, Tracks, and Traces, and this video is on Center 4. And Center 4 is called Tricky Tracks, and it is about how you can find the path of an animal by examining its tracks, and you can kind of make a story about what happened based off of the direction that it moved at certain points of time. So I would probably start this, there are 3 parts to the Tricky Tracks pages. Part 1, this is the answer key, but it gives you some pictures of different animal tracks, and then the kids can guess what they think made each track on the page. And then before part 2, it might be worth completing this tracks and traces matching. So this gives you the picture of the animal and then a bunch of different tracks for you to like draw lines to the connections. So it's just another way to talk about, using your part 1 to kind of say which one left which tracks. And then parts 2 and parts 3 are going to be geared towards the older kids. They are some pictures of a bunch of tracks, and you guys can all talk together to decide a story that could leave this result. So it's just a fun way. Part 3 is very similar. It's just a fun way for you guys to look at the tracks and decide what happened to make all of the tracks go where they went. And then another Tricky Track activity is this large handout. I find this handout super fun. It has 4 different little stories. So it's similar to these Tricky Tracks, except for it actually tells you the specific animal, and then there is an answer sheet at the back. So you would start with number 1 and point out that the rabbit made these tracks, and then the fox made this track, and then see if the kids can tell you what they think happened to create this picture. And then once you guys have talked about it, you can actually read the story that's here that tells you what actually happened. So this is great for little kids, but I think that the older kids would have fun with this as well. It also might be a good thing to do before you do part 2, just because they have like an answer, so that it kind of just helps really focus what might have happened, and then they can come up with their own stories on the other parts. And then after you've done all of that, there is a large, what's called the window shade story. So this is another, it's described as a way for the students to play detective, is how it's described in here. So again, another story for them to create. And then there is the actual story on the second page.